because I was just going to ask about, treatment plans and what is pacing and what once you've got that diagnosis, I feel like there's a real gap between that and anything else. What should a treatment management strategies, what should that look like?
To me, most of us make the mistake of trying 10 things together to try and, make a difference. Whereas scientifically, what we should do is try one thing, see if it has a benefit. If it doesn't, put that aside and try something else. And there are a number of, there are some nutraceutical supplements available that, like antioxidants, MitoQ, coenzyme Q10, which can help some people. We've, shown at the molecular level, you can show improvement in energy production, even if the people don't necessarily feel much better. Um, there's there's drug therapies like low-dose naltrexone, which is an anti-neuroinflammatory, and we think neuroinflammation is a major component of the ongoing illness. And then there's behavioural therapies, and I've recently, just because a patient alerted me to it, come upon the book by Annie Hopper called Wired for Healing. And the interesting thing, I hadn't heard of her, but I looked up on the internet, and I discovered that she had an injury, I think a neck injury, which and then came down with ME/CFS, and then got chemical hypersensitivity and electro sensitivity, had to live on a houseboat without any electricity. And so for 3 years, worked out a system to heal herself. And she concluded that she had neuroinflammation in the limbic system of her brain. She'd read lots of things about the brain, wasn't a scientist, was a counsellor actually, so just shows you how important counsellors are. And the amazing thing to me when I read about this was I'd spent 10 years of research, at the molecular level, and I'd concluded that the major problem is the limbic system and neuroinflammation. So we'd come to the same thing. So I had a great deal of respect. So she's developed a system called dynamic neural retraining system, which is really acknowledging that the brain is plastic. We call it neuroplasticity. And when things go wrong and nerve connections get broken, they can be reformed and other parts of the brain can take over. And that's what she thinks has happened with her, and that's why she's been able to heal herself. So she wrote this book just to give other people possibly the opportunity to try it. Now, the trouble with most of the behavioural therapy things, which are very closed and whatever, they're incredibly expensive. And ME people who can't work don't have a lot of money. There's an online program that she has, and apparently she's established clinics, or people have helped her establish clinics in North America. So this might be one thing. And the thing I like about it, I've read part of the book, and she's very modest in, she doesn't claim over claim. She just wants, people to have the opportunity to try, see if it helps them. I have looked to see if and she talks about people who've been helped in the book, but I've looked elsewhere, and I did find an example on Health Rising of a nurse who became wheelchair bound with her ME, and the thing she advocates is an incremental thing. You have to do this for an hour a day her system for at least 6 months. And what I'm hearing of people who've got benefit from this is that they've done this and got incremental thing. And that to me makes a lot of resonance for this disease, not a quick fix, not something that'll cure you tomorrow, but something that if you work on will improve your conditions and get you to a better space. And so, I'm not necessarily advocating for this or her, but it is something which is a strategy which is worth, looking at.
what I like about what you're saying there as well, Warren, is the idea of incremental improvement
Yeah.
and making that the goal, rather than what I think so many people are trying the goal being to be back to where you were before CFS, but rather just actually trying to look for incremental improvement. Yeah, so I think that strikes a chord with me in terms of finding a way to see some hope, see some improvement, and find something that feels achievable.
Nice. I just wanted to share with you guys a really great kind of model of what a self-management plan might look like that I read a recent paper by a Australian pediatrician, Catherine Rowe, and I'm reading it out, so I'll try and make it exciting.
Yeah.
Just really important that the child is believed and accepted. That's super important. And just remembering that there's this whole balance as they're growing up of things that have gone off the rails in terms of their education, their physical development, their social networks, and their emotional balances. And so she suggests having a self-management plan for every week, which you could review monthly between the parent, the child, and possibly the school if you have good school. And it might look something like you just try and include a little bit, no more than if it causes PEM, exhaustion, you're doing too much, but trying to include some proactive social contact. So it might mean messaging someone online, or you're reaching out to someone, whatever's doable, whatever that looks like to you. Proactive social contact, some academic and physical activity, and again, if it causes PEM, you're doing too much. It may not be possible, but even the smallest amount. And the last thing, a commitment to attend something enjoyable outside of home on a regular basis. And again, I really do want to stress, if it causes PEM, if it's too much, then don't do it. But this is her suggestions. And really, it's about trying to learn to live with your illness, balance, still have some control. Control is so important for young people, for anybody, and just feeling connected to each of those different things. And one idea for the academic stuff, if the child is not totally housebound, it might look like taking less subjects at school to allow your child to progress with their friends, and that helps them with that social aspect. Of course, that would require school acceptance. So anyway, that's just a quick summary of some ideas of hers. Again, you wouldn't want to be doing anything that triggers exhaustion or PEM, but just remembering how important dialogue between everybody involved is, giving the child a sense of control, the kid a sense of control, and that being believed and accepted, and helped to manage in a holistic way. And I'll include a quick summary of that in the PDF summary we do as well.
That's a fantastic summary of the whole discussion we've had today,
Great.
I think, Tom, actually.
Yeah, agreed. I think that sounds like a really a good conclusion.